All right, so now time management, what you really need to do is be organized. So we've already talked about creating a plan for studying. That was the example we used, but this can be applied to anything that you want to achieve over any time scale, whether it's over the current day, the next few weeks, the next few years. Create a plan. And then you want to block off time accordingly. Every day you need to map out what you're going to do. Now, I don't know what I'm going to do on a Thursday, 2 weeks from now. I have no idea what I'm going to be doing then. But as that time approaches, it'll become clearer and clearer to me what things I'll need to do on every given day. So for instance, for tomorrow, I already know what I'm going to have to do tomorrow. And I've blocked off time accordingly to make sure I hit all my goals for tomorrow. And really, the way you achieve anything in life, any long-term goal, is by adding up all those daily successes. It's kind of an incremental thing, but all those little successes and achievements on a day-to-day basis, hitting your to-do lists, knocking things off of them, achieving things, building things over time, that's gradually what builds up into a better life for you over time. Like, you may not see it because it's just minor changes day to day, but over the years, you'll look back, maybe 10 years from now and be like, wow, I'm really glad that I did all those things, because look at how different my life is now. And I want you guys to do things that your future self will thank you for, not things that your future self will have regrets about. So just remember that. So block off time and be efficient with your time. You're going to be studying maybe and realize after a certain amount of time studying, that you're going to be zoning out, and you're not really retaining any more information. You're just kind of, your eyes are passing over the words. Nothing's really staying in. And I believe, and don't quote me on this, but I believe they've shown in scientific studies that there's sort of diminishing returns. After a certain amount of time spent doing the same task, you start to retain less and less. And people that take breaks or switch tasks become more efficient with the time allotted to that particular task. So for me, when I was studying, for instance, this is a little bit of an extreme example, but I would study for 15 minutes and then I would take a break for 45 minutes and do something else fun. Whether that was, something for pure enjoyment, like watching a movie, playing some video games, or if it was something that had to be done, like folding laundry, doing laundry, or just switching to another subject and studying something else so my brain could kind of refresh and pay attention to something completely different. So just be aware of that when you're studying. Don't just block off 3 hours to study for calculus and just keep on studying calculus if your brain is really not learning anything more after a half an hour or after 45 minutes of doing it. So make sure you're efficient, switch tasks, do something else that needs to be done. Don't waste time doing something for 3 hours that's not really providing you any benefit. Okay, just some other stuff about time management that I wanted to mention also is just about your to-do lists. Prioritizing tasks is very important. So when you make a to-do list, don't just make something that's 20 items long. Group things together based on urgency, for instance. So that's one sort of parameter that I look at. Okay, is it time sensitive? Is it urgent? Or is it not? Like, can it wait for later? Like, there's some legal documentation that I have to do some work on and look into, but it's not really time sensitive, so that is pushed back onto the back burner for now. Whereas there's other things that I have to get ready for that are more time sensitive, like I have the Cars and Chai Gala this Saturday, so I've got to do things to get ready for that, because that's in just a couple of days. So you want to do that when you're making your to-do list. And the other thing is to also chunk or block tasks together so that you can accomplish them as efficiently as possible. So, if there are things that you can do together in one trip when you're going to go out and do errands, try to block them all together. So for instance, today I had an appointment with my parents at the bank, but in that same plaza as my dry cleaner. So rather than go yesterday to pick up my dry cleaning or do groceries or whatever else I would do in the plaza, I had to go there anyway today. So I just made sure I lumped all that stuff in together today, and I did all that stuff in one trip. So it minimizes the amount of back and forth that I'm doing. So try to minimize back and forth for errands. Try to line things up all in one trip if you can. If you've got a long commute, it's something to think about. I mean, every now and then you really want to take stock and evaluate how much time you're spending on certain things. And sometimes you'll realize you're spending too much time doing certain things, and you want to either minimize the wastefulness of that time. So if you can reduce a long commute, that's amazing. But if you have no choice but to have that commute, at least try to do something productive with that time so you get something out of it. Like I said earlier, for instance, listening to podcasts on those trips. So just, you always kind of have to be thinking about this stuff, like prioritizing things based on urgency, things that can wait, things that can't wait, and then also trying to lump things together so you do things as efficiently as possible, and you're not going back and forth out every day for errands when you could have done all those errands in one day, assuming it wasn't something urgent like you're running out of food or something like that at home. You also need to be realistic with setting a pace for yourself. Like, you will know what you can achieve in a certain amount of time. So set realistic, mini goals, to-do lists at a pace that you can comfortably accomplish these things, because as I'm sure you're aware, things don't always go according to plan. You're going to get punched in the face, not literally, but you may get punched in the face by something that's unexpected. Life may throw you a curveball. Something may come up that's urgent. So just make sure you leave a little bit of room for error, a little bit of buffer in whatever pace you set, and just pace yourself as you go along. You do not want to burn out. That's why I say, don't try to cram. Don't start studying 2 nights before a final. Give yourself enough time to lead up to whatever goal you want to accomplish, so that you can do it in a comfortable way, and you can look after yourself. You can sleep well, eat well, not be stressed out, because all of these things will combine together to improve performance in whatever task you're trying to achieve, whether it's getting a 95 or 100 on your exams. And on that note, again, I mean, if a pass is 60, or if you just want an A, which is like an 80, I guess, don't just aim for that, right? I always have this saying in mind: if you strive for perfection, you'll achieve excellence. So I always aim for perfect. I always aim to get 100 on everything. Now, did I get 100 on everything? No, but I got pretty damn close a lot of the time. So if you go in with that mentality that you try to be perfect, you will at least achieve excellence. And you have to be okay with not getting perfect. You can't beat yourself up. Like, nobody is perfect in any part of life. Nobody is ever going to be perfect. But you still try to do that in everything, right? Whether it's school, whether it's your personal life, whether it's at the gym, your nutrition, do your best, right? Your utmost best. And you'll achieve excellence as a result. So I'll talk a bit more about that in another video. Okay, and then last is just practice this stuff, okay? I know I'm giving you guys a lot of advice, a lot of things that you have to constantly be thinking about maybe and trying to implement into your life. It may seem like an insurmountable task. It may seem like a big struggle. Don't worry about that. That is normal. Of course, it is a struggle. It's difficult. It's something that I'm working on still, but I've come a long way from where I was before. And just realize that by practicing it a little bit every day, you will improve gradually over your life, and you will eventually become better at it and better at it and better at it. And it'll become second nature to you. Like, I don't have to think about a lot of the things that I used to have to really focus on and have self-control over in order for me to do those things. So just have faith in the process and just practice it bit by bit. Just promise yourself that you will be a little bit better the next time, that you'll be better than who you were the day before. Even if you mess up, make a mistake, don't do things perfectly efficiently. Don't do things the way you wanted them to. What's most important is that you keep moving forward and you keep trying to improve is most important. Just don't stay stagnant. Don't be satisfied with how things are now. It's okay to be content with who you are, to love who you are and how you do things, but always be open to and strive for improvement, and use your mind, right? Like, God gave you your mind, your intellect. Use it, all right? Like, always be thinking about how you can be better, how you could do things better, how you can correct mistakes that you've made before. If you've made mistakes, how you can make up for it and improve and not make those mistakes in the future. If you've hurt someone, be able to apologize, own the mistake, promise not to do it again, and then actually not do it again. Don't make the same mistake twice. And it's a process that is lifelong, right? And you're never going to be perfect. I'm not perfect. I'm never going to be perfect. You have to be okay with that. But what you shouldn't be okay with it is just remaining stagnant and not improving and not getting better and being better than who you were the day before. And if you string a few thousand days together where you are better than who you were the day before, like, you will be amazed with what life you end up with and who you end up becoming, after you've strung a few thousand of those together, after 5 years, 10 years, 20 years from when you start that process. So start today and practice it, and you will get better. Just keep using your mind and keep trying to be better, and you'll be amazed with what you accomplish and who you end up being and what your life ends up being in the future. So all the best with that, and that's it for today.